Hello and welcome to the Voice of Self-Discovery podcast. Here we commit to learning, growing, and becoming the highest, most truthful version of ourselves, one day at a time. I am Priscilla, and this is your space for daily self-improvement, mindset shifts, and practical insights. Today we are answering the question, how can we build a digital presence that truly reflects who we are? Have you ever looked at someone's online profile and thought, wow, they have it all together, while secretly feeling like your own digital presence is all over the place? Well, in today's hyper-digital world, it's quite easy to feel like you need to fit into some polished, curated version of yourself online. But let's be real. How do you show up as you without feeling like you are either oversharing or pretending to be someone else? That's what we are exploring and unpacking today, backed by research on online communication, personal branding, and the psychology of authenticity. So stay glued as I will be giving you some cues and providing you with some answers. Let's start by defining what we mean by digital identity and authenticity. So, according to research and communication studies, digital identity is basically the sum of all information about a person that is available online, including what we share, how we interact, and how we are perceived. Authenticity, on the other hand, is being true to one's values, beliefs, and the experiences that we have in a way that is consistent across different contexts. What many of us struggle with is aligning our real selves with our digital selves. And a recent social media survey reveals 3 common traps that we fall into. The first trap is the performance trap, where we feel pressure to be perfect, often curating and sharing only the best moments and polished thoughts, and creating a gap between our real selves and our digital selves. The second is the comparison effect, which highlights how social media fosters unrealistic comparisons, leading to self-doubt and sometimes identity distortion. The third trap is fear of rejection, where it was found that fear of judgment or misunderstanding prevents people from expressing their true selves online. Can you relate to any of these? Well, you're not alone. I've been there too. Now, when you think about building a digital presence that is true to who you are, I believe the first thing you have to do is to go inward and ask yourself, who are you really? Because the foundation of authenticity is self-awareness. And we realize people with high self-awareness make decisions that align with their values rather than external expectations. So ask yourself these key questions. First of all, what do I stand for? What exactly do you stand for? What 3 words describes who you are? What 3 words describe how you want to be perceived online? And also think about what topics energize you. Think about what you love talking about, that you would love to talk about even if no one paid you to do it. And to build a digital presence that reflects who you truly are, you should let your presence reflect your responses to these questions. So whatever you're doing online, whatever you're posting, however you are engaging in terms of content, consistency, style, flow, language, etc., it should reflect, 1, what you stand for. It should reflect the 3 words that describe how you want to be perceived online. And they should be in alignment with topics that interest you genuinely Once we do these things, then we are assured of building a personal brand that feels natural and true to who we are. Talking of personal branding, this is something that is often misunderstood. It's not about creating a new identity. It's about amplifying the existing one in a way that connects with others. According to Jeff Bezos, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So the question now is, how do you craft a personal brand that aligns with your true self? That's what we've been unpacking over the past 5 minutes. I've been reading a couple of books and research papers on the topic of personal branding, just for fun. And I see 3 core principles being suggested consistently across board. The first is clarity. Personal branding requires clarity, being clear about your message and your values. The second principle is consistency, the ability to show up in a way that reinforces your identity across across different platforms. Showing up in a way that reinforces your brand or identity across different platforms. So you don't show up as one person on Instagram, another person on LinkedIn, another person on Facebook, etc. When we check your profile on Facebook, the same values that are portrayed by what you share in terms of content, style, language, etc. is the same when we check your profile on LinkedIn or Instagram or any other platform. The third is credibility, which emphasizes that it's important that we build trust by sharing knowledge and experiences that are genuine to our expertise and values. Don't try to talk about things you don't have any knowledge about or have limited knowledge about as though you are an expert, for example. It's important to stay consistent in reflecting your expertise and values, not also presenting yourself as someone who knows everything across board when in actual fact your niche of expertise is quite small or not that broad. To apply these 3 principles, I would suggest you choose 3 to 5 content pillars, as in key themes that represent you. And these content pillars should be the same or similar to your answer to the question, what 3 words describe you? Right? So whether it's personal growth, innovation, creativity, beauty, mental wellness, stick to what truly resonates with you. Now, the next thing I would like to touch on is how to foster connection in our online communication. You may have observed that in digital interactions, our communication tends to be hyper personal, where we disclose more about ourselves than we would do in person. For example, you would realize you are either showing a lot more affection, a lot more concern, being more elaborate in your digital interactions than you would do in person, all because you really want to make sure that you are understood or that you come across positively. But there are pros and cons of that because it can be too much. So now the question then is, how can we foster connection authentically in our digital interaction? I have 3 ways that work perfectly. And the first is to ensure that you're using your own voice. I'm a culprit of this. I have been for a very long time and I'm still working on it. So usually we tend to use overly polished language, but it's important that we use our own voice and avoid overly polished robotic language. Make sure that you're speaking like you would in real life, right? For academics, maybe like myself, you may be tempted to write like you would write an academic piece, and sometimes such language can be a bit robotic or strong or just too difficult to grasp in everyday communication. Even so, academic pieces have to be simplified, so it's not justifiable to transfer academic style of writing to digital writing in just everyday interactions. So it's important that we keep it simple and we try as much as possible to use our own voice and not necessarily use overly polished language, like you're either writing a textbook or you're writing a literary piece or something like that. But just speak like you would if you saw the person face to face and you're interacting with them. There are some words that you would only see in a written text. You would not hear people use in normal communication. So it's important to strike a balance between talking like you would and using your own voice and showing expertise. Though if you're writing something online to demonstrate expertise or to share knowledge that you have, you may want to use jargons that are contextual, jargons that are used in that field of practice so people who are in that niche would understand you better. That's one thing. But just overly polishing your language because it's online and you want to appear a certain way can cause people to be disconnected from your content or your posts. So using your own voice will always win. Secondly, it's important to pay attention to engaging rather than broadcasting. So there's a difference between just posting and engaging in meaningful conversation. Engaging means you're looking at communication as a two-way street. You're not just putting something you want to put out there, and then you leave it at that. But more importantly, you're looking at what other people are saying regarding what you want to put out there. And then you try to engage with the community around that particular content. It also means acknowledging other people's work or pieces. It also means commenting, liking, mentioning, giving acknowledgement to people when you use information that they have previously shared, or referencing them if you think they have done something similar in the past. So those are some ways you can engage, and this is very different from simply sitting down and writing a caption to a story, to a picture or something and just putting it out there and expecting people to like it or comment on it. But being intentional about engaging with other people who are invested in the topic or content that you are posting is very important. This also means in your post or your style of writing, you would like to put up some questions that invites people to actually engage with the post and not just sharing information. So that works. One last thing that draws people in is storytelling. And I found that stories build connection a lot. So in sharing personal experiences, lessons, or even failures, using a storytelling format makes your content more relatable than, again, writing a paragraph without a sense of a storyline. So all of these sound easy, but it's not. It requires a lot of intention and hard work. One elephant in the room that prevents a lot of us from even trying to put in the work is the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, or the fear of being misunderstood. Here's a mindset shift I'd like you to have. Your digital presence is not for everyone, and that's okay. The right people who resonate with your message and the wrong ones, those scroll past, let them. That's absolutely fine. So it's important to understand your niche and accept the fact that even within that niche, not everybody would like your self-presentation, not everybody would like your content, your writing style. Not everybody would connect with you, because even in everyday life where people see you and interact with you, not everybody connects with you on the same level. And that is how it will be in your digital interactions. So you have to be very, very comfortable with that. That your digital presence is not for everyone. Let those who can connect, and just you stay authentic. Because if you try to do things that would appeal to everyone, like they say, you end up pleasing nobody. And you would keep diluting your authenticity just to fit into some mold which doesn't even exist. So it's important that you stay authentic, and then the people who like what you're serving would love it. The people who don't, you let them. One other thing is the comparison challenge. Let me say this. If you catch yourself feeling inadequate because of someone's created content or post or whatever, remind yourself of this theory, the selective exposure theory. That says we tend to expose ourselves only to information that reinforces our existing beliefs. In other words, social media is not showing you the full picture. Know this, social media is not showing you the full picture. So it's important that you focus on your unique journey instead, rather than comparing. And that's what authenticity is all about. Be true to you, true to your values, true to your expertise, true to your themes, true to content that is meaningful to you, content that truly you are passionate about or you are concerned about in real life. Because people can tell if you are trying to show that you're interested in something online when in actual fact you're not. Or you're demonstrating a philosophy in your digital interactions that in real life you're very far from. People can tell. People can read between those lines. So authenticity is key. Know that your digital presence is not for everyone. So stay true to you and you'll win. So bringing it all together, the practical steps. Here's a roadmap. 1, define your core themes. What are the 3 topics that you want to be remembered for or known for in your digital interactions? What are the 3 topics 3 to 5 maybe that you genuinely care about? And be intentional about storytelling using your own voice as people connect more with real experiences and not just polished content. And choose your platforms wisely. It's important to pick platforms that feel natural to you. For example, if you love writing, maybe focus on LinkedIn. If you love videos, Instagram, Reels, or YouTube may be your thing. And also show up consistently and authentically. Forget about pleasing everyone or making everybody like what you're posting or doing. And this consistency is not about posting daily if it feels forced. Instead, it's about pacing yourself in a way that you can sustain and showing up with meaningful content each time you want to show up. And lastly, I would say engage with purpose. Digital presence is a two-way street. You need to connect, you need to engage. You don't just dump or post things and think that people will jump on it. So things like replying to comments, supporting others, and building relationships, and not just an audience, is really critical. So my friends, if you've listened to this point, thank you for staying tuned. As you step forward in crafting your digital presence, one of the things I'd like you to remember is that the most important and the most powerful you can be online is you. Not a version of you that pleases the algorithm, not a version that blends in, but the real you. So I challenge you today, take one small action to align your digital presence with who you truly are. It could be refining your bio or your intro or your self-description, whatever it is. Maybe that could be sharing a post about something you deeply believe in, rewriting your bio, like I said, to reflect your core values, or simply unfollowing accounts that make you feel less than enough. And hey, if this episode resonates with you, share it with a friend who needs to hear it too. Let's make the digital world a place where authenticity thrives. Until next time, stay true, stay bold, stay you, and keep discovering you. I am Priscilla, signing off, the voice of self-discovery. You'll hear from me soon.